Welcome back to the channel, guys. You guys have been asking me for about a week now about health coverage here in the Philippines. Today I have a special guest with me, Michael Onstadt. He's actually going to go over some plans and over some coverages over the infrastructure here in the Philippines. And so I just briefly want to say hello to you.
Hi, Brett. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. My first questions would be, what's your experience in the healthcare industry? How many years of experience do you have? And how long have you been in the Philippines delivering coverage to your customers?
Well, I started at the ripe old age of 21. I sort of fell into the business. My father retired. And he said, son, if you want to get licensed, you can take over my clients. So I was 21 and had nothing better to do. So I took it over and it all went from there. So I've been in the business for 45 years now in total. And I've been in the Philippines for 7 years. I have a wife and a 6-year-old daughter.
All right. Nice. That's some good information. At least we know you got 7 years of experience. That's a big plus to the viewers out there. My next question would be to you is, how do you see the future of the Philippines healthcare?
Well, there wasn't much of a future until I got here because, of course, one of the biggest issues here is the service element. It's hard to find good service here. So when I got here, it was my project to build an office of professionals that could bring the service levels up to a Western level. And I think I'm 90% there, but we're a lot better than the competition. And so far, so good.
All right. Do you want to give the name of your company?
Well, I'm me, and I'm contracted with Pacific Cross. They're my primary insurer. When I started out, I had 3, but I couldn't handle it, so I had to concentrate on one. And it was just too time-consuming. 3 companies on your plate is just too much. And bottom line is they're all in line as far as the premiums go. And the biggest attractor to Pacific Cross was the access card and the cashless admission to an accredited hospital. That's a very popular feature here. Because
when you're getting a new client,
pardon me?
When you're getting a new client, what is usually the first questions they ask you?
Well, I, of course, get their age and their email address. I send them an outline. And they're always asking about pre-existing conditions if they have them. Of course, that's a main issue. And my simple answer is there's a 12-month waiting period, after which they will cover it at an additional premium, or they will state up front that they will permanently exclude it. So it's one or the other.
Okay. You just mentioned premium.
Pardon me?
You just mentioned premiums. I want to ask you about premiums. Say I won't do myself, for example, but I'll do someone that actually just retired from the U.S. Say he's a 62-year-old male with no pre-existing factors involved. What would be like a kind of a ballpark figure for him as far as coverage per month or per year?
Well, first of all, it's either paid per year or every 6 months.
Okay.
And they ding you 8% if you split it in half. So most guys pass on that one. The premium at that age for the peso plan at a 5 million benefit limit is let me just give you a minute, 99,418 pesos per year.
So less than 10,000 pesos.
No, 99,418 pesos per year.
Okay, so roughly 100,000 pesos.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what does that cover?
Well, it covers accidents immediately and everything else after 30 days.
Okay. And that is per year price, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Is there different plans that you offer?
Yeah, well, there's a US dollar plan at the same age, would run about 1,900 US per year.
$1,900. Okay.
It would cover you for $500,000 US, which is more than enough you need here. Okay. But that's the minimum. And that's with a deductible of 2,500 USD.
Now, from what I'm gathering, your insurance actually covers like catastrophic and/or accidents. Why do we not mention, like we do in the United States, where we have like a plan where it cover almost everything? Why do we not use that over here in the Philippines?
Well, that does cover everything. Everything else after 30 days. Accidents immediately, everything else after 30 days. So that heart attack, stroke, cancer, all the bacterial diseases,
Well, I meant more like in the grounds of like preventative care. If I broke a finger, if I cut myself with a knife, things of that nature is what I meant. That's not really covered in this plan. Is that correct?
No, it doesn't need to be. It's so cheap here. You self-insure for the small stuff. You insure for the big stuff. That's
what I was getting at. When you're talking about, I mean, I know you know some examples. Give me some examples of things that have happened out there since you've been in practice in your insurance company. Give me some examples of what it would cost for minor things out there, so my viewers actually know the cost. Like for a broken finger, maybe a broken arm, maybe some scrapes from a bike accident, things of that nature. Do you have any kind of examples you could give, like personal customers of yours that actually has happened to?
Well, I got a colonoscopy for 20,000 pesos.
20,000 pesos. So again, guys, when we're talking pesos, I just want to make sure you guys understand. You will take 20,000 pesos. Today's exchange rate is 58.2 pesos per dollar. So take 20,000 US dollars, or 20,000 pesos, and divide that by 58.2. That gives you the amount in US dollars. So just so you guys know where we're coming at, is when you're over here in the Philippines, everything comes in pesos. We're not dealing with US dollars anymore. So everyone's going to speak in pesos. Kind of give you an idea there. Now, I got some other questions here for you. What's the differences between coverages and/or health care in the Philippines when you're comparing that to the U.S.?
Well, I mean, in principle, it's exactly the same. It's just here you don't bother with insuring for doctor's visits and the small stuff. That's not worth it here. It's cheap. If you go see a doctor or a specialist in the U.S., I don't know what that's going to cost, but it's a hell of a lot more than $20.
Actually, I got that example this morning. I actually go to a doctor, and I'm sure it's probably on the high end. I go straight to the one in the mall, and they charge me 600 pesos for a visit. That's $10.36. Back in America, I would pay a $25 copay for my insurance just to kick in. So it kind of gives you an example there, guys.
Yeah. It's not. You don't insure for that. No.
All right. Next thing is we went over pre-existing, and I think that we're going to do the same thing here. Dental and vision care. Like, you have dental and vision back in the States. Can you give us some examples of why it's not needed here in the Philippines?
Well, it's purely inexpensive. I mean, I get my teeth cleaned and a few fillings, and I walk out with a 3,500 peso bill. I mean, how much is that? 60
That's
bucks?
True.
Yeah.
That's good news for the clients out there, because people need to know all this information. Things you see here in the Philippines that may be different from America. How are you seeing like diabetes, kidney disease, cancer, heart and lung issues? Are you seeing a rise in that here in the Philippines for a person that's been here for a longer period of time? Or are you seeing where it's not a major factor? Is it the same as it is in the United States?
It might even be more so here, because we tend to get the older guys. And, a lot of them have pre-diabetes in their 60s, 50-50. So that comes up a lot. And almost everybody has high blood pressure.
So basically what you're saying is when an American or a Canadian or someone from other countries come over here, they're bringing that with them. It's not like they're already bringing that luggage with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as are any, like if I live here in Cebu City, and I talked to you briefly about this earlier, are there places that are excluded from this plan? Like if I'm in a major city, are most doctors and most hospitals included, or is there a list that's provided to go to?
No, I provide a list, and in Cebu, I think there's 20 hospitals on the list, and the bottom 18 you don't even want to go to. So let's just say it's very thoroughly covered. Same with Manila, and Dumaguete. It's got 4 hospitals. They're all accredited, and Davao has at least 12 on the accredited list. That's never an issue. And even if you end up at an unaccredited hospital, you do have to pay up front, but you do get reimbursed. So it's not like you've wasted your money.
Okay. Have you ever had any issues with payment to any of these institutions?
Payment.
Like when I know that if your coverage is going to kick in, has there ever been any issues, like where the customer has to get involved, or do you always get involved and make sure everything's taken care of regarding payment to these hospitals?
We get involved up front if the client calls us. They should call us on the way to the hospital. That's always recommended. Are there hiccups? Yes, there are. Documentation, we have to get on top of it and make sure it's all there.
Now, how much of that will be on? How much of that information is going to be kind of like on the insured, and how much of that do you take care of?
Well, we take care of putting it together and assembling it, so we can expedite discharge.
All right. That's actually all the questions I have, but I just want to come to you, face to face here and just ask you, what should the potential expats be looking at as far as insurance? What is it you can offer them, things that I did not cover during this conversation, things they actually need to know, very important key factors I didn't go over they need to know about?
Well, that's a moving target. Depends on their age. Depends if they're maintaining Medicare at home, whether they have Medicare Part B. If they're keeping their Medicare at home, then really all they need here is sufficient coverage to treat them so they can fly commercially back home if they need further treatment.
Okay. Now, the insurance coverage you provide, for example, I'm just going to give some of the big ones out there. We're talking about a heart attack or a stroke, things of that nature. What is covered by your plan, and what is the deductible and or copay that's needed by the insured for that procedure?
Well, there's no deductible on the peso plan.
Okay.
And the US dollar plan, I usually quote it with a 2,500 USD deductible to maximize the discount. But we can go to 1,000 or we can go to 0, but you don't get the discount. Yeah.
All right. Now, can you give examples of pricing? Say for a heart attack or a stroke, can you give an example of pricing for either one of those here in the Philippines? What it would cost to be admitted, to have all the proper care, and just kind of give them a ballpark figure where it would be at in pesos, and they can do the conversion themselves in dollars.
Yeah. Well, it depends what hospital you're in. Okay. St. Luke's is the top-notch hospital. It's going to be pricier than a hospital in Dumaguete.
Okay.
But let's say at St. Luke's, you're on the upside for a heart attack and subsequent treatment. You're looking at about $1.5 million pesos.
Awesome, $1.5 million pesos. And this covers you up to 5 million pesos. Right. That's actually that's very beneficial to know.
That comes in handy if you have a second heart attack. Which
that one's covered too, correct?
Yeah. Sure is.
Anything else you think our viewers need to know about as far as things I have not covered that you just think they ought to know when they move over here to the Philippines for the first time?
Nothing in particular. We've covered all the highlights. If they want specific information, I'm all over the internet. You can get me on Facebook, and they can send me a direct message, and I'm happy to answer.
All right, so just to finalize things, I know the most important thing to someone coming over here is cost. What is the cost of the two plans again for a 62-year-old male with no pre-existing conditions?
The peso plan, 100,000 pesos per year. The US dollar plan, about 2,000 US per year.
All right.
But it
Is
has
there
to be
one of the
deductible.
plans that you like better than the other?
Now, it depends on the profile of the client. If he has Medicare at home, the US dollar plan, in my opinion, is overkill. And the peso
Okay.
plan is more than sufficient. Yeah.
Well, I'll end it today right there. I do appreciate your time today again, guys. He's been a pleasure to deal with today in this interview. I've heard great things about him out there in the field. Well, I've been out there in all the different places I've actually traveled. Dumaguete, of course, one of the bigger ones. I do thank you so much for coming on our channel today and spending time with us and going over the crucial things when it comes to healthcare here in the Philippines.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Take care.
Welcome back. I hope today's video has helped you out regarding any questions or concerns you have regarding the healthcare industry here in the Philippines. Again, it was my pleasure to bring you guys the information that you've been requesting and been needing. I hope I did the best I could, so I hope that was good enough for you. If you have any other questions or concerns regarding this, you can reach out to Michael. Again, it's Michael Onstadt, very good guy to work with. He can give you all your information that you could possibly need regarding healthcare. And again, you are my champions. Thank you so much for your questions and your concerns and issues and things the topics you want me to talk about. It just it puts a smile on my face every single day to come here and be able to provide you guys this information. And the content that I'm trying to cover is what you're looking for. I hope I'm doing a good job at that. I will only get better. Again, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, give me a comment. I always appreciate it all. Thank you so much and have a great day.